Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Bernard Alvarez webcast. Today, I've got a special guest joining us. We're going to be talking to Stefanie Arend about Yin Yoga. She'll be joining us in just a few minutes, but I just wanted to take a moment and catch up with all of you. This is the first webcast that I've done in a couple of weeks. As many of you know, I was away last week on the Spirit Heart Cruise. It was the Visionary Conference at Sea. And let me tell you something, it's taken me a while to get used to being on land again. I don't know if anybody's ever been on a cruise. We were on the Atlantic Ocean for, about 8 or 9 days, and my head is still wobbling. I feel like I'm still on the boat. Apparently it's something common, some type of vertigo that people get from being on a cruise ship for so long. But I will say it was really great. I got to spend the week with Miriam Delicato. She was my stateroom cabin mate, and we all did presentations for about 129 conference participants. I got to meet some really amazing teachers, make some really amazing friends, and hopefully I'll be having some of those co-presenters joining me in the coming months. We've made a lot of new friends, and I actually was able to relearn and remember some of the spiritual techniques that I had forgotten. One of them was to be a better boss to myself. I can be a little strict on cracking the whip and trying to get everything done, and I have to remember that it's just a journey and that the work will get done, and if you're not enjoying the work, you shouldn't be doing it, and I do love the work that I do. Anyway, I'm very happy to be back again this week and to share with you our special guest that is joining us. As a matter of fact, we were going to have Stefanie on prior to me taking off on the cruise, and we had some date mix-up or something like that. So I've been thinking about Stefanie for over a month now and looking forward to our talk today. So let me tell you a little bit about our guest who's joining us today. Her name is Stefanie Arend. I hope I'm saying that correct, and you can correct me in a moment. Stefanie studied English, Spanish, and French, and worked as a translator after graduating university. After she had her first child, she decided to start over again as a yoga teacher, a nutritionist, and holistic health coach, because she wanted to be able to help people on their self-healing journey. Sounds like many of us in this field of work. She did many teacher trainings before she finally came across Yin Yoga and realized that it was exactly what she was looking for. Her first book about Yin Yoga became a bestseller and has now become a classic among yoga books in Germany. 4 more books followed before she wrote Be Healthy with Yin Yoga. Her books have been translated into 5 languages, and we are very honored to have Stefanie Arend joining us today. Hello, Stefanie. Welcome to the webcast. How are you today?
Hi, Bernard. Thank you so much. I'm fantastic. Thank you so much for having me.
And again, thank you for joining us today. I can't help but see the parallels. I mentioned earlier, so many of us, we have a change of consciousness, a change of heart, and decide to work in service to humanity. I think it's a good way of saying it. Is that what pulled you? Was that the pull for you?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so Yin Yoga is, let me show everybody the book. Be Healthy with Yin Yoga is available in the United States now. And Stefanie is going to share with us a little bit about what is Yin Yoga. So what is the difference between Yin Yoga and other types of yoga, and what drew you to it, and perhaps share with us what's so special about it?
Yin Yoga is a very gentle and passive practice, and most of the other yoga practices are more of a yang style, which is more active, and Yin Yoga focuses more on the fascia, and the other styles of yoga focus more on the muscles. And in Yin Yoga, we hold the poses much longer, for about 3 to 5 minutes, and we sink into the poses. And that has very deep effect on the joints and and also on the central nervous system. And it's a very calming practice, and in my eyes, very healing, because a lot of people have pain in their fascia. Excuse me. And the fascia is oftentimes stuck, and that's what can lead to these painful experiences you have in your body, and Yin Yoga can be a wonderful tool to heal that again.
Wonderful. And would it be fair to say, someone like myself, I have attempted other forms of yoga, mm-hmm. and I have a difficult time with endurance and or back pain and joint pain. Is this something that would be easier for someone like myself to practice and not turn and twist ourselves into knots?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say Yin Yoga is very accessible for most people, because there's no goal in the pose. We have a lot of props we can use to get into a pose, and if you have problems doing something, then we can just take more blocks or bolsters and make it accessible for you. So you can just stay in the pose for 3 to 5 minutes, and that's when you can really sink into the pose and experience that healing effect on the fascia. And I had terrible back pain myself.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I used to be a chronic back pain patient in my early 20s, because I was into martial arts and I really did that excessively. And I couldn't find a way out of the pain, and Yin Yoga was my way to get out of it.
And Stefanie, tell us a little bit about how Yin Yoga started. Was it started as a how should we say, a branch of the spiritual practice of yoga? Is it a spiritual practice, or is it merely a physical practice? How would you combine the two? Where does it come from?
It's both. It starts on the physical level, and then it can go very deep, because that's also a difference compared to the yang practice. Because when you do the yang practice, you stay in the pose usually 5 to 8 breaths. And when you do Yin Yoga, you stay for several minutes, and that goes pretty deep, because you have to spend time with yourself. Mm-hmm. And you have to look inside. And usually the teacher doesn't talk the whole time, and you have a lot of time to confront your emotions and really see what's going on inside of yourself. And that's not always very comfortable. But the physical practice helps to go through these emotions. And for a lot of people, it's much easier than to just sit in meditation, and it's easier for a lot of people to connect with what's going on inside when you can combine it with a physical practice.
Yeah, I can imagine. I know many people have a hard time being quiet in their thoughts, and I guess 5 to 7 minutes in one particular pose might be offer a breakthrough, quite honestly. Does Yin Yoga apply the same principles of, like, well, I'm just using terminology here that we can all use, but like chi or the meridians or anything like that? Do we talk about energy? Is that something that people need to know before they start practicing it?
They don't really need to know it, because it will work anyways.
Right.
When you come into the poses, the chi, which is like prana or energy, will get harmonized in the meridians, and these are our energy pathways in the body. And if you know about them or not, that will work either way.
Very good. And what about the background of Yin Yoga? Where did it start? Did you help to bring it to the forefront? Were you taught by someone? Where was the root of it?
Oh, my teacher is Paul Grilly, and he was really the man who made it very popular. Actually, it's a very ancient practice, but he combined it with the knowledge of TCM, which is traditional Chinese medicine, and the anatomy of the individual person. And that's what made it so popular these days. And I was lucky enough to be able to learn from him. And then I made it a thing in Germany. And yeah, that's my heart yoga now.
That's great. That's wonderful. So Stefanie has offered to share with us one of the tools that is offered in Yin Yoga. Stefanie, you want to tell us a little bit about what you're going to be sharing with us today, and go ahead and share it with us.
Yeah, maybe you just want to try one of the poses a lot of people really like, and that is lying butterfly. And lying butterfly is pretty accessible for most people. And if you want to try that, you can just rest on the floor and put your soles together and let your knees fall down to the sides. And if that's hard for you to do, then put something underneath your knees, maybe a pillow on each side. And you can also put a pillow or a bolster under your thoracic spine if you want to come into a small back bend in the pose. And then you can put your arms over your head or let them rest at the sides. And that's really a super nice pose if you have, for example, a job where you have to work on the computer for many hours and are hunched over, which a lot of people are these days. And you can just stay in that pose for as long as you want. It's a super relaxing pose. And what I personally love to do is also to do a meditation in that pose. And one of the meditations I love to do is a simple form of the chakra meditation. There are several forms of chakra meditation you can do. And a very simple one is to visualize your chakras, which are along the spine. We have 7 chakras, and you start with the first one, which is at the base of the spine, and you can just put your hands on there and let them rest. And if you want, you can visualize the color red and just let it soak in. And you can leave the hands on there as long as you wish, and maybe imagine how you fill up the area with red light, and also combine it with your breath. And when you have enough of that, you can go up a little bit higher underneath your navel, and then you visualize the color orange for the second chakra. And also combine that with your breath again. And then you come to the third chakra, which is a little bit higher. And it's then the area of the solar plexus. And it's the color yellow. Some people also visualize it as gold. Imagine how you fill up the area with that color. And always stay with your breath when you do that. And then come to the fourth chakra, which is in your heart area. And for most people, it's the color green. For some, it's also a soft pink. Stay with your breath. And then you can come to the fifth chakra, which is in the throat area, and it is a light blue color. Once again, imagine that you soak up the color and combine it with your breath. And then you come to the sixth chakra, which is in the area of your third eye, and that is a dark blue. Stay with your breath. And then come to the seventh chakra, which is on the top of your skull. And you can imagine the color white, gold, or purple. Stay with your breath. And then you can imagine that you let all of these colors flow into your aura, and you expand your aura. You clear your aura and feel protected. And you can stay as long as you like. And if you have the impression that one of the colors was not very, very strong, or maybe a little bit grayish, not very shiny, then feel free to come back to that chakra and imagine it once again, how you fill it up. And when you have the impression that all of the colors are shining and you feel strong and vitalized, energized, then you slowly start to move your body again. Bring the knees together again. Bring your arms back to your body again. And then you can stretch out again if you want, or make yourself like a small package all wrapped up, and come back up to sitting again. That is one of the meditations I love to do at night, because I'm a highly sensitive person, and I have the impression that I do catch up a lot of energies throughout the day. And that's one of the things I do to clean myself up before I go to bed at night. And that was just a super quick version we did right now, and you can just extend it, like stay with the chakras 1 minute each, or even longer, whatever feels good to you. That's one of the techniques you could try.
I really like that. And thank you for reminding me of my chakras. A lot of times, most of the work I do on myself, I'm always picturing just the light moving through me, but to stop and pause at each of the energy centers like that really does feel very balancing, very cleansing, and very helpful. So thank you for that. That was wonderful.
Thank you.
Now, is there a reason why you do this particular practice with that particular pose? They feel right for you to work together?
You can also do it sitting up, but it's easy for people to put their hands on the chakras during that pose. It feels comfortable for a lot of people, and it's easy for most people. So whatever works for you, you can do it sitting up as well. Some people just lay flat on the floor, but I find it a very relaxing pose, especially before I go to bed.
It sounds wonderful. Now, Stephanie, I noticed you said you use that before you go to bed to clear your energies that you may have picked up during the day. I've noticed in the book you have movements, meditations, and poses that help with specific issues like ear problems, bladder complaints, anxiety, allergies, agitation, and headaches. I suffer from migraine headaches myself, so that's why I picked up on that. I was like, oh, she has something for headaches. Was the book specifically written to kind of be like a recipe book, or is that just one of the benefits of learning about it?
You could use it like a recipe book, but it's just one part of the puzzle. It's not like you can just do the sequence and your migraine will be gone, but it can be an important part on the path to healing. And you will feel the benefits of the practice, because the energy gets back into harmony again, and that activates the self-healing capacities of the body.
Very good. But you would probably, would you suggest that it's better to immerse yourself into the practice and allow the benefits to come as they are needed? What's the best way to approach it for you?
If you have one of these elements?
Yeah.
Yes, try to do them as often as possible. Like I had an issue with my eyes, for example, and I did the practice every day and I could totally resolve it.
Oh,
But
wonderful.
you need a little bit of patience. It doesn't happen overnight.
Yes, absolutely. Be gentle with yourself and be gentle with the practice.
Yeah.
There's no magic pill. That's what we're trying to get away from by doing these types of practices, right? So tell us a little bit about where people can learn more about you, where they can learn more about the book or purchase the book. Do you have a website?
Yes, I do have a website. It's www.yinyoga.de/en. That's for the English translation. And the book is available on Amazon and Goodreads, and I think pretty much every online store in the US by now.
Wonderful, wonderful. And you have a Facebook page, I see. Can people like your Facebook page, or is it?
Oh, yes, I would love that. I have a YouTube channel. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. Yeah.
And
And
as
I also have some sequences on my YouTube channel. If you just want to give it a try, then feel free to visit my channel and just give it a go.
And that's was going to be my next question. Do you have videos where you walk people through the poses and the sequences? Wonderful. What's the name of the YouTube channel?
I
You know
think
your username?
I think it's Stefanie 1A, but just type in Stefanie Arend and you will find me.
Oh, of course, of course. Wonderful. Very good. Stephanie, do you still teach classes, or do you do any online courses or anything like that?
I do teacher trainings internationally and online classes. That's one of my next projects.
Great. Wonderful. I'm sure everybody watching will be happy to hear that. Very,
Thanks.
very good. Well, I want to thank you so much for joining us today, Stephanie. It's been a pleasure, and I certainly feel much better after that particular practice of working with the chakras. Is there any last message that you would like to share with our viewers about Yin Yoga, or anything in particular dealing with personal empowerment?
What I find a super important tool is to dive back into stillness. I think we're overloaded with so much which is going on in these days, especially in the times of internet and cell phones. And a lot of people have an excess of yang energy. And that's why so many people feel depleted and burnt out. And yeah, a lot of people lack the yin energy. And it's so important to balance out these two. So if you say, okay, yoga is not my thing, then at least give yourself the time to dive into stillness every day and to connect with your soul again, because the soul is really quiet. And if it is so loud in our world around us, it's super hard to connect with our soul. So please give yourself the time, even if it's only 5 minutes every day, to get back on track if you feel something's not going right in my life. And if you give yourself that time to dive into stillness, you might discover again what's not going right now in my life, and what does my soul want to tell me. And these few minutes every day can be so precious to really get back on track again. So that's really something I would ask everybody to do, to just connect with yourself.
And
Even
very important. Thank you. And thank you for that reminder. We all need that. That was one of the things I was reminded of at this conference, to disconnect. Anyway, everybody, remember, it's Be Healthy with Yin Yoga. And you can find Stefanie you can find the book, yinyoga.de/en. Anyway, well, thank you all for joining us. I just wanted to send a note out to all of my regular viewers that I know I promised to share with you the conference, my workshop that I did at the conference. And unfortunately, we did have internet issues because we were running away from a Hurricane Jerry. So the internet kept going in and out. And I decided I was going to record it on my phone, and I've never recorded anything on a phone before. I always have like a professional camera or something like that. And unfortunately, it cut out after 30 minutes. So I will share with you the first 30 minutes of my workshop very soon. If anything, maybe I'll just offer the whole 3-hour workshop online sometime in the future. But anyway, thank you again to Stefanie. Remember, it's Be Healthy with Yin Yoga by Stefanie Arend. And I will see you all next week. I have another special guest joining me, and you'll see more of that on my Facebook page. I love everybody. Have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.